Hello everyone, and welcome to this board game overview video for Kingdom Death Monsters Bonesmith location. So, this is one of the early locations that you can get as early as Year 1 in Lantern Year 1 in the core game, and this is where you'll build primarily your early weapons. I'm going to be going over this in detail, what you can build, the various, those items themselves, and, well, that's it, because you can't do anything else with this location except build the weaponsmith, which, of course, I'll be going over that in a little bit of detail. The building, not the location itself, as that will be its own video. But, with that said, let's get on to the details.
First off, we've got the location itself, the Bonesmith, with a very clear, here's a guy working on a skull and stuff, lantern in the foreground. Almost looks like he's on a mammoth tusk, if anything. So this is the location that's primarily used for weapons and such. There's a couple other things that come from here, but not only is it used for weapons, so is the location you can build from it. Moving on to those actual things you can make, we have the bone dagger, blade, bone axe, bone darts, bone club, skull helm, bone pick, bone sickle, and the weapon crafter location itself. So, most of these things take one bone, or at least, I should say, a chunk of them do. The obvious exceptions are bone axe, which takes an extra organ, bone club, which is new for 1.5, takes 3 bones, skull helm, which takes 2 bones or 1 skull, which is really nice unless you're playing people the skull, and then the bone pickaxe and bone sickle, both take a bone and a leather and require ammonia, which, unless you're getting it by another means, you need ammonia to make leather anyway. And at the end here, we have the weapon crafter for 3 bone and 1 hide, and of course, an endeavor. Ammonia is one of the basic innovations, the start of the science tree, I believe, and the leather, you'll need the actual leather working station to get, but various basic uses, and I'll get to these in detail in a second. The bone daggers are a nice fast weapon that isn't all that strong, and is the only one of the weapons that isn't frail. All the others are. And beyond that, you have the bone blade, which is just a nice balanced weapon. The bone axe, which is great for critting, as it will do an extra point of damage on the first point you crit on. The bone darts being your only ranged weapon you're going to have access to begin with. I recommend building one of these no matter what, just to get around a single card clever ploy in the White Lion fight, if it comes up. The bone club, I don't know how I feel about that. It's nice and hard hitting, but it takes 3 bone. The skull helm, which if you get the skull is great, or don't have any use for the bones, which is unlikely, just keep in mind it breaks once you take any severe damage. That includes something that just goes, oh look, you just take severe damage to your head. The pickaxe and sickle are interesting because they don't actually qualify as weapons, and they each give you access to a unique hunt event that you stack on top of another hunt location. I'll get to those when I actually get to the hunt itself. And the weapon crafter, I'll be covering more so in another video, but this is where you go when you want to make more detailed weapons. Keep in mind, some of these recipes require very specific monsters to kill, including the Phoenix, for one.
As a quick note before I get started on covering these individually, I just want to point out, while I'm holding 1 copy of each, there is 3 copies of each of these. This is actually the case for most things in the game, unless they are unique.
Now, getting to these items in the same order in which they appear on the location itself, we first have the bone dagger, which is a weapon, melee, dagger, bone. Speed 3, accuracy 7, strength 1, with a left and top red affinity. So, red affinity's up, you don't see those a lot, but all the weapons have a red affinity left, with the bone club having a red affinity right. Now, here's where the dagger comes in really nice. On a perfect hit, gain 1 survival, and it explains perfect hit here, which is a result of a lantern 10. If you have timeless eye, it's a 9. So you get 3 swings base, and thus 3 chances for that, but also 3 more chances you're going to trigger the trap. Next, we have the bone blade, a speed 2, accuracy 6, strength 2, with the same tags across the board, except sword instead of dagger. This one has frail. When you attempt to wound a super dense location, this weapon breaks. Archive this card at the end of the attack. So that means you get to use it for the whole attack, not just the location, and will do damage if you succeed at the wound. But if you attempt to wound, meaning if the location comes up because you must attempt to wound. Unless something else cancels it, so you put it in the back hoping it gets canceled or you just deal with it. Most of the weapons have this. Then Bone Axe. Again, same tags across the board except Axe. Speed 2, Accuracy 6, Strength 3, Frail, Savage, which is once per attack. If you critically wound, cause 1 additional wound. This doesn't apply to impervious hit locations, which I think is a redundant statement because you can't wound them in the first place. So, critical wound. This also means, especially once you get to the Butcher, or at least to start with, if it doesn't have a crit on the location, you can't do this. Next up, we have Bone Darts. Speed 1, Accuracy 7, Strength 3. I'm always surprised when I see this and see the Strength 3. It's got Thrown instead of the other weapon types. I don't think there's a Thrown weapon for efficiency, at least not yet. And it has a range 6, and is Frail. So you can attack from 6 away. Remember, diagonals do not count as 2 spaces. You have to go orthogonal. And it's really nice to take care of anything where you don't want to be next to it. Next up, we have the Bone Club. Speed 2, Accuracy 6, Strength 5. The weapon is two-handed, heavy, and a club on top of the weapon, melee, and bone. This weapon is cumbersome. You must spend your speed as an additional cost to activate this weapon. Ignore cumbersome if the weapon effect is activated indirectly, pounce, charge, etc., which those two off the top of my head are from the armor sets of the White Lion and Screaming Antelope. Next, we have the Skull Helm. The Skull Helm is armor, bone, fragile. Fragile, it touches on a lot of different things, mainly in hunt events that say archive one, if not all, fragile items. So keep that in mind. That is different than frail. A 3 armor head slot, and there is a down red affinity. When you suffer a severe head injury, the Skull Helm is destroyed. Archive this card. This is nice to cross with Dried Arcanthus because you just ignore the next severe injury. And some monsters do automatically do a severe head injury, so just toss this out. It's not great to rely on, even in People of the Skull. In fact, if you're using a skull to make this in People of the Skull, what's wrong with you? Next, we have Bone Pickaxe. Notice it's not a weapon. Item, tool, pickaxe, bone. Speed 1, Accuracy 8, Strength 2. And then it says, after a hunt phase setup, place mineral gathering event on any hunt space. And I just want to point out that the bone sickle is the same thing except herb gathering. Also, both of these have a green up affinity, but onto the sickle itself. The bone sickle is same thing as the bone pickaxe, except a sickle. Speed 2, still accuracy 8, strength 1. And again, already stated this.
Thank you for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed. If this was helpful, feel free to press the like button. If you think somebody else will enjoy this, feel free to share this video. If you didn't like this, go ahead and press the dislike button. I'll understand, but please try to leave a constructive comment as to why. Also, feel free to comment in general. And if you want to see more like this, be it more board game overview videos, my unboxing videos, or my painting videos, feel free to subscribe. Regardless, thank you for watching and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.